Voila! And today's topic is the sad execution or killing of Charlie Kirk, which I see as a blatant attack on free speech done by somebody which is probably crazy, because even most people on the left or his most stern critics wouldn't go out and do this. But as Donald Trump did say, calling people names, and as I say, calling people Nazis and worse for years, will lead to some nutcase like the guy who tried to shoot or shot President Trump, will lead to them going out being a hero. It's probably quite suicidal actually in many ways, because of course he won't get away with it and stuff like that. But the thing is that these people are of course total narcissists, probably have real mental disorders, and all this constant attack on free speech leads to this. Me personal have been called a Jew-loving Nazi by the left for supporting Israel. I painted a Mohammed cartoon after the Charlie Hebdo massacre, and got my share of comments, some threats, and of course a lot of dislikes, especially from the right.
Now, what I meant to say was, of course, I get the most pushback from the left and the far left. What I get pushback from the right is mostly my critique of religion.
Now, I am in this very happy situation that I am kind of I would call myself a totally free thinker, as far as that is even possible, because we have to learn from someone. But if I had any political leanings, it would be towards human rights, free speech, which I think is the mother and father of all freedoms. I don't know if democracy, that everybody has a vote, is the best way to do it, but maybe it's the best we got, because people seem to vote for their own wallet or for their own bias or for their own ego, despite for solutions. Ideally, I would be for the world be ruled with a set of ideas about human freedom, free speech, freedom to evolve as a person, freedom to keep your own money when you have done your job and get some earnings from it, but also the freedom to be in a society who has the idea of taking care of our fellow human beings, and for the most needy, like the poor, like people who really can't work, there should be social security or some security for them. And of course we should have universal health care. Every kid should go to school. There shouldn't be any starving people. And if I got it my way, if I could do like Thanos and snap my finger, I think the notion of national identity, religion would just disappear. But then again, that would remove the freedoms we have, and maybe we need junk. Maybe we need the junk to appreciate real thought. Now, so that is my stand. I'm a humanist. I am kind of on the left, but I tend to go for the facts. And that is why I still also support Israel. I used to be a Trump supporter, but he failed me when he didn't do the right thing when it comes to Ukraine and Putin. He also made the debacle in Afghanistan possible, because he actually started the pullout. Biden just finished it in a crazy way, of course, but it couldn't end well anyway, because the Taliban is not interested in human rights and stuff. So I think that was leaving behind a whole population of people who had started to believe in the future, and leaving them behind to the religious fascists in Afghanistan. Anyway, back to Kirk. I saw the video, or a snippet of it, when the bullet hits, and it was an instant death. There were probably, almost like you see in the documentaries from the Second World War, or you see executions from ISIS, or all these videos. It was the same thing. It just went out like this. So I don't think he felt any pain or had any consciousness after that, because I think it hit here and just probably went through the whole thing and took out the main vein. You can find the video. I would actually recommend seeing it. It is horrible to watch, but I think it's very important to see how things actually work. Of course, it is so sad for his family and everything. But the saddest thing for me is, of course, the fact that this now makes free speech even harder, because a lot of the people who actually dare to speak against the left-wing consensus and also right-wing consensus, of course, will have to have much more protection. It's like Christopher Hitchens, my late hero Christopher Hitchens, who was always offered protection when he was going to hold debates or stuff like that. But he denied it, he said, no, I don't need it, I take what's coming. And that is the thing one probably should do. But to see people get killed like this, to see Trump getting shot, to see this guy getting shot, it just destroys democracy, it destroys free speech, and that is the sad thing, that is the horrible thing. Now, did I agree with everything that Kirk says? No, he wasn't for supporting Ukraine, I think. And I actually went into YouTube today just because I was wondering about his stand on Ukraine, and I guess I see that he wasn't I don't think he was more like a isolationist or American nationalist, I would say. Basically a little bit more like Trump. And I found a video, and it's so stupid. The name of the video is Ukraine Killed Charlie Kirk? Question. So now you have this, and that is, now already you have conspiracy ideas. I don't even call it conspiracy theories, because it isn't theories. People should stop using the name theory. It isn't a theory, it's a hypothesis. It's a conspiracy hypothesis. If something is a conspiracy theory, then you have proven that it was a conspiracy with evidence that turn it into a theory. Before there is any evidence or a concrete evidence that proves that an idea is true, it's a hypothesis or an idea. It's like Thor creates lightning. That is not a theory. It is an idea or an hypothesis. Or the Virgin Mary gave birth to God as his own son. That is not a theory. It is a hypothesis. And that is so important to understand the difference between these things. And people just keep misusing these words. It's like the word pedo. They use the word pedo on this Weinstein stuff. But for using that word, it has to be kids under 10 or something like that. It depends on which country you're in. So people are just misusing these words, and it drives me crazy. It's like people calling the Reuben report, been called a Nazi. I've been called a Nazi. Kirk was called a Nazi. Trump has been called a Nazi. I mean, first of all, Nazism is on the left. They are a left-wing organization. I guess Nazis today doesn't really understand that, but it is an extreme left-wing ideology. And it's in many ways more extreme than communism. And that was one of the reasons that communism and Nazis didn't like each other, because the Nazis didn't think that communism was extreme enough. Now, of course, Nazism is also a race ideology, so it's kind of socialism with racism, which of course makes it even more irrational, because there is only one race of people on this planet, and it's Homo sapiens sapiens. There is only one type of human being. There are some small genetic differences in skin tone and stuff compared to where you have lived, but there is only one type of human. And there should be, as I see, only one country called Earth. And we should take care of each other. So Charlie Kirk was, of course, an American nationalist. And I'm an anti-nationalist. I don't like national pride or national anthems or national flags or anything like that. I don't like religion. I would go as far to say I hate religion, because it makes people think like... It makes people insane, you know. Crazy ideas makes people crazy. And if you can believe that Muhammad flew on a bevinged horse from Medina to the Temple Mount and had a meeting with Abraham and God and Moses and all these people in heaven, and came down again and all this stuff. It is not a rational belief. It is a mad belief. If you can actually believe that God made himself into his own son and sent himself to earth to save us from an inherited sin in a garden 6,000 years ago, because we ate of a fruit on a tree, and it doesn't say anything about apple, actually. But you know what I mean. These ideas are crazy, and Charlie Kirk was a Christian. And I don't know if Donald Trump is a Christian, but he sure started acting like one after that bullet didn't hit him, or hit him a little bit. But anyway, Charlie Kirk. I saw a video where he was supporting Israel, and I totally agree with him. He was discussing with this girl who asked why he was for giving money to Israel that was committing a genocide in Gaza. Now, and I want to say this, I totally agree with him. There is no genocide in Gaza. There is no more genocide in Gaza than the carpet bombing of Germany during the Second World War, or the killing that happened in Berlin or other German cities when we went in and removed the Nazis. This is what actually is happening on Gaza. The fanatics started it. The Arabs started 3 wars against Israel. They did terror for 30 years. And the last terror attack, Israel decided to go in and finish it. And this is on Hamas. I don't celebrate when civilians die, because I think every single human being is, like Carl Sagan is saying in the Stardust segment, we are a way for the universe to know itself. We are the universe's consciousness. And the fact that we are still killing each other over stupid ideas, over stupid nationalism, like in Russia attacking Ukraine, like the left-wing media and the left-wingers in America go so crazy when I or anybody else support Israel, or heaven forbid if you are a Trump supporter. I mean, all this craziness I've had against me for supporting Trump. And now I kind of are disappointed. And I have to make a video basically why I'm not a Trump supporter anymore. And I've been waiting to see if he could just pick himself up and do the right thing, but he doesn't seem to be able to, because he has, as another guy said, he has a narcissistic personality disorder, and Putin gives him so-called narcissistic supply. And since Putin is the only person who actually have given him a lot of positive attention, it seems like Trump just can't let him go. And the Ukrainians and NATO and the world is suffering under this oak. Okay? So, yeah. But what I want to say here, that the murder or the execution of Charlie Kirk is because the left, and I will blame the left, has created an environment where free speech, free thought, and real discussion has become almost impossible. You're in. I used to know a girl, Amina was her name. She was originally from Iran, and we were friends. We were always talking. We talked about religion. She was also an atheist. But when I started to support Israel, and I started to say out loud that I was very much against Islam as a religion, because it's very aggressive. I will say that Islam is the most aggressive religion of them all. Now, if you can prove me wrong and show me a different religion which is more aggressive, I will gladly eat my words. But I've read the Quran and I've read the Hadith, and you can actually see me paint my Muhammad painting on YouTube, on this channel, on my channel. You can see me paint it, and I play the whole Quran in the background while doing it. It's an English translation. So yes, I've heard it. I've seen what they are capable of, and they are really dangerous. So to criticize Islam or criticize religion in general is not just important, it is mandatory. If you are, as an artist, and this is where the artist thing comes in, if you as an artist aren't willing to fight to the death for freedom of speech, what you do is just scribbling. You are just sitting there kind of enhancing your own ego without taking any stance at all. That is why in many of my videos, my painting videos, I talk about these things all the time. And that is why my probably one of the reasons why my channel doesn't go up like this, and I lose and I gain subscribers all the time. You know, maybe it comes to subscribe, you hear me say something and they leave. But that's the price I'm willing to pay, because free speech is one of the things I'm willing to actually die for. And the second thing is my daughter and a couple of people I love, like my parents and a few friends. But there is a very big drop-off, and my girlfriend of course, but there's a big drop-off from free speech, my daughter. From there's a drop-off, what I'm actually willing to die for. But I'm willing to die for my own voice. And this is exactly what makes Charlie Kirk such a hero. He was willing to literally put his neck out for free speech, and it cost him his life. Now, what is kind of nauseating for me to listen to is like when Trump says, oh, he's a better, it's nice to know, or it's a comfort to know that he's now in heaven and stuff like that. No, no, that is belittling his death. If you say he's in a better place now, it is to belittle. And you also take the responsibility away. You say there were an infinite God with infinite power, which basically rule and change everything all the time. All-powerful God. And he let this happen. He let his wife lose his husband and 2 kids lose his father. And he didn't move that bullet a little bit to, I think in this case it would be to the left. And he did actually save Donald Trump by moving the bullet a little bit to the right, so it hit this poor guy who was a firefighter and killed him and left his wife and children dead in grief to save Trump. And he couldn't find any other way to save Donald J. Trump or Kirk, which he didn't save, of course, for some strange reason. That God is a monster. And if this God actually exists, I will fight him burning in hell. Okay? That is what I will do. Maybe I will eat these words, but probably not. Because the chance of these crazy stories and these crazy books being true is, the way I see it, like 0. It's not even 99.99999% chance for this not being true. It is 0. Unless there, of course, is a infinite God that is so bored that he keeps doing this to entertain himself because he can't think himself up. Yeah, sorry about that. There was no more room in the camera. Now back to that this God is so bored that he needs to make people suffer and get killed, and he's doing nothing about it. And there's of course probably another video called Can God Commit Suicide? And if he can't, is he really all powerful? That's a good question. So but you know, I just feel it is so sad that this happened. It is like and you also have to think this for a second. Do really the guy who did this, which I would probably think is, maybe he's an, I don't know, he's of course very suicidal and political, probably on the left. I would be surprised if he's not on the left. Maybe Muslim, I don't know. But crazy. Normal people doesn't do these things. Only people poisoned by ideology, and probably also Charlie. Jesus Christ. What is this? Yeah, anyway, all people who actually do these things are crazy. That was my point. So, should they be punished? I don't know. Should they be seen as sane? No, I think they should actually be declared insane and sent to the cuckoo farm for as long as needed to make them wake up. It's like the Norwegian mass shooter and terrorist Anders Behring Breivik. He shouldn't be in jail, he should be in a cuckoo farm where he get the right treatment. Then again, you can have a discussion about what is free will, what is all this. I tend to fall down to we should see all these people as totally insane. and basically feel more sorry for them than anything else. But that is another video. So I just want to say this, how big a tragedy it is for okay, as I was saying, it's just such a great tragedy for free speech, and I hope you understand that. If you want me to make more videos like this, tell me in comments, tell me what you think. It's very important that I know. I have been wondering and making more political videos on this channel, but I think it's very important for artists to also have a voice. Yeah. So now I'll go about my day, and I think you should actually go and listen to Charlie Kirk, so you don't actually believe all the nonsense that the left-wing media say. And you can already see people on the left and all over the place coming out telling how horrible this guy was, and that he was this and that and a bigot and a misogynist. And he did actually say, like, I was having this discussion with a bearded guy with a mustache in a woman's dress, claiming he was a woman, and he said, which is objectively right, no, you're not a woman. Even if you cut off your genitals and take hormone treatment, you will not change your chromosomes. So yeah, he is actually right, there only being two genders biologically. Now that there are a lot of confusion in some heads, and there are some genetic component to people being born with a wrong brain, that is probably something there. And I don't think it is something that normally people would choose to be. Of course, that guy, so like you just put on a dress just for show, just to have that discussion. But I absolutely agree with Charlie Kirk there too. There are only two genders, and you wanting to be something doesn't make you something. But then I can also say, you know, to Charlie Kirk or other people like him, that you believing in the Christian God doesn't make him exist. And he will of course argue like most religious people do. They argue from bias, from feeling, and they don't take the facts into the equation. They don't even want to know the facts. They are basically like the left or the right wings or the people in politics, which is really the same thing. There is no real difference between communism, Nazism, fascism, religions and stuff. The only difference is the variation of what they believe in. The psychology in it is exactly the same thing every time. That is why it's very rare to find real free thinkers. It's very difficult to find real thinkers. Was this guy a free thinker? Well, his ideal were, his religion, was that about freedom? I don't know. Christopher Hitchens is a free thinker, was, but also many people have failed there. So we have to be careful. We have to be on our toes, as they say, and ask serious questions to our own biases. Okay, I think this was enough, probably 25 or almost a half an hour. I will post this on my channel, and hopefully I won't lose too many people, maybe even gain some. So with this, have a good day. Cherish free speech. That's the most important thing in your life, and use it. You don't have to vote. If you don't want to vote, don't do it. It's up to you. It's your freedom to not vote. But you have a voice, and you can make a video, or you can discuss stuff, or you can do anything you want. If you post it on social media or YouTube, you can get slammed down by YouTube because of censorship. For heaven's sake, they censor my videos. You know, when I paint a beautiful painting of a beautiful girl or woman, they censor it, but they let videos of belly dancing children dressed up like grown-ups onto YouTube. So, you know, what to do. Anyway, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and tell me if you want me to do more of these rant videos. I have another channel called All Things Knut Vikshåland, where I have more of these, and I will post a link in the description. Okay, see you around.